I'm not here to say life is easy, and your life and anyone's life, loan officers, coaches, no life goes like this. I will say that our lives can be a lot more simple. And I think one of the things that people do is they overthink how they're meant to come across. And that's why I'm such an advocate for human experience.
Hi, and welcome to the Loan Officer Team Training Podcast. My name is Irene Duford, and I am your host. And I've got today with me a very special guest, somebody who's amazing at communication. And that's what we're going to talk about today is the art of conscious communication. And Jamie, welcome to the podcast today.
Thank you for having me, Irene. It's an honor to be here.
It is so fun to have you on today. It's been a little while and I've wanted to have you on because I want people to know what you do and how you help people communicate. Just for the listeners, Jamie and I met a couple of different times. Briefly, I didn't meet him, but I saw him at Ames Fuse event where you spoke, Jamie. And then we met at MortgageCon where Marilee Brown introduced us, and quite a few people there introduced us together. And she said, you have to meet Jamie. She said, he is just amazing. And so I always love to meet good people. And we had a great conversation, saw each other a couple times during that. And I said, I have to have him on the podcast because, you know, a lot of people know about you already. You are very, very much on the speaking circuit. People have seen you in a lot of different places, but I wanted the loan officers specifically that listen to this podcast to listen to what you and I are going to talk about today because communication is everything.
We are in agreement there. I think you'll find if anyone we asked, is communication important, the likelihood is they're going to answer that with a yes. So
yes. So tell us what you do. First of all, I know that you are going to be at the UWM Live,
correct,
right, in May. And yeah. I wish I could be there. I'm not able to be there at that one because I'm going to be gone on vacation during that time. But tell us about why they invited you. What are you going to be doing there? Because that's a huge event. Tell us how many people will be there.
It's kind of like surreal in this sense. You're like, Jamie, a lot of people have heard about you. And in my head, as you're saying that, Irene, I'm like, so many people have not heard about me. I don't do it. You know, I'd be curious if, like, when people watch this, if there is a comment section for, if I was to ask, have you heard of me? I would be curious who's typing in, no, I haven't. All right. Or yes, I have. Right. Obviously, it's a glorious thing when your name precedes you and you're talked in a certain way than when you've got Marilee's in the world or Scott Hudspeth's in the world, you know, talking you up. I've been invited to speak. I'm getting quite a name for myself, I guess, in the mortgage space. And I've been invited to speak in Detroit at UWM Live, which obviously is one of the bigger events. And I get the privilege and honor to teach loan officers basically how to communicate, how to do what we're doing, at a more conscious level. Like how to actually understand the psychology. If I threw out a little example, just to help people, like a lot of loan officers, for example, are asked, what are the rates? And a loan officer will immediately, a lot of loan officers, and for those who are listening in, if you're answering this way, the hope will be you get a clarity. A loan officer will be asked, what are the rates? Before they've had a chance to have any dialogue with this person. And a loan officer might indeed say, the rates are whatever percentage that they are at that particular point. Well, the other person calling in, the buyer, has no knowledge of what the loan officer's experience level is based on the response. So I would teach more the psychology. All right, someone's asked me a question. I'm going to answer them. All right, I'm not going to I'm not teaching people become politicians and answer every question with a question. However, in this particular instance, the psychology would be, let's extract some value first. And here's how it would work. A loan officer, what are the rates? Absolutely, I will share the rates. Just very quickly, are you caring just about the rates, or do you also care about the caliber of the loan officer? If you look at the body language, that is going to be helping you get into the home of your dreams. And now you've at least tailored. And if they say just rates, most people I ask, do you want a client who only cares about rates? Most people will be like, no. So if they say, well, of course I care about caliber, you then get to layer a few more questions to evoke some emotion, to what I call extract value, so that when you say, do you remember how you asked what the rates are? Given that I'm the person who can give you all the things you just said you want, can you see where X percentage is actually sensible then. And they're going to be more inclined to say yes. And that's kind of like that's an example of where I get to help loan officers, for example, have the outcomes that they're actually looking for.
Yes, instead of just answering them with the rate or trying to work around it somehow.
If the loan officer is one doing all the talking, that's also not, I'll use more positive connotation, it's not the best thing.
Right.
All right, to do, and it's, again, I guess I'm kind of thankful loan officers, realtors, financial advisors, a lot of these industries, people get licenses to sell something, yet there's zero prerequisite for the communication piece that we just talked about. You don't have to be a great communicator in order to obtain a license. If the audience listening in can understand you're involved in one of the most emotional purchases on the entire planet, if you think you make it just all logical, you're missing a lot of ingredients in your conversation that will actually help you get referrals. Mary Lee and Scott Hudspeth of the world, and you have me on your podcast, in my head, doesn't happen by accident. All right. It happens as a result of abundance and understanding, hey, let's become friends, Irene. Let's not make this transactional. I didn't see you first time and be like, here's my handout, pay me.
That's right.
If every time a loan officer's getting a phone call, we remember the way we left feeling, I'll give you an example. There could be someone watching this podcast right now being like, Jamie, where are you? I see Irene, very professional, deemed in their head in an office environment. And they're like, Jamie, you're in a coffee shop and I can hear stuff maybe going on in the background. And so in that example, I would garner understanding and be like, hey guys, have you ever had a human moment where you went along to an office and suddenly things kind of miscellaneous ingredients took place in your day and you had to kind of pivot? You're suing, yes, Irene, the right people listening in would be like, yeah, that's happened. Hello, that happened to me today. Went to an office with the best of intentions to have a quiet environment to do this. Didn't quite go to plan. If I'm at home, you're going to have to deal with my girlfriend's kids. That would be loud. Are you following along with me? So it's kind of like have I got permission from your audience now in your heads to be like, okay, Jamie, we get it now. All right. I'll ask your loan officers, are you doing that with your buyers? Are you telling them statements of things or are you asking questions of things? Yes. And that is the major tweak.
Yes. I love that. And when you're a loan officer, I truly believe, and I did this in my own loan business, was you ask questions that matter to the client. That's communication, asking them questions that are about them, that matter to them, that show that you care about them. Not so much that you're concerned about your commission or whether you're going to close the deal, but I believe that when you truly care about somebody and care about their outcome, that they're going to feel that. And I felt that with you, Jamie, when I met you.
I'll make this a lesson real quick on how we do that. A lot of loan officers, let's say, I believe virtual selling is actually easier than even face-to-face. So what I would teach, if I'm on the phone with you, all right, but I'm looking to help you out in the best possible way, and I'm going to show I care, I'm going to stay away from questions like, how are you? All right, because that's not going to gather the right information. But watch this. If I get you virtually in front of me like you are right now, and you just said, ask questions that matter to the buyer, the client, consciously, here's what I'm going to do with you. I'm not here to sell you, Irene, and I'm here to be a reflection of you to your audience, all right, is in my head. And the best reflection I am of you, the more your audience comes to you, Irene, thank you so much. That was glorious information. If I'm doing a virtual with you and I was looking to sell you something today and ask you a question consciously that puts you at focus where it's about the client, I'll be like, Irene, I'm just curious. What's the story with the painting or picture over what looked like your right shoulder? Because I know it's your office. Now, here's the deal. You get a choice, correct, on what's behind you in your office. That picture, am I having a natural thought, has some meaning.
It sure does. You're right.
Okay. Is your audience connecting the dots? Oh my God, Jamie, that's a game changer. I don't have to get on and be like, okay, let's talk about your loan. And I'm Jamie, and let me tell you all the wonderful things. And these are the rates, and these are the programs. No, Irene, lovely to meet you. I'm curious, what's the story with now? You're talking about something that you're really fond about, that's meaningful to you.
Yes.
And you're going to feel a psychological, oh, I like this person. They're getting me talking about things that are important to me. Hopefully that resonates or lands for your
It sure
audience.
does. Yes. We have a class called WOW training, and we do that for the loan assistants and team members, support team members of the loan officers. That's who the class is for. And it's a class that teaches them how to wow their clients, how to wow them so that when they're done, they're like, wow, you guys are amazing. I'm sending everybody to you. And they didn't even have to ask about it, but they just love the experience. And if I had to call it any kind of class, Jamie, it would be a communications class. And the reason I call it that is because we teach the loan partners how to communicate, how to show interest in the client, how to ask questions that matter to them, how to use words that really matter, not words that will turn them off, but words that will really help, how to be professional and warm at the same time. And we also teach systems, processes, the rest of the experience. It's going to make it a wow experience as well. But the reason I'm so intrigued with what you do, Jamie, is because it aligns with everything that we do in that wow training. And I've already learned so much from you just in a few conversations about how to say things, how to word things. And I'm a student of communication. And so you have already taught me so many things about it that I will implement in my life and in the life of the people that I teach.
I'll let you in on a secret. Well, we're on a podcast, so it's not, I keep learning too. All right.
Yes.
Like if you ever run into someone and people buy from people they feel the same as, and you're someone you're like, Jamie, I'm always learning. I'm learning stuff from me, meaning removal of ego. All right. Like, so the point is, Irene, if you ever run into someone where they act like they know everything, that's not going to be at the best of human beings to necessarily be around. So no, I love that. And the other thing that came to my mind as you were just sharing were two lessons, which I think will hit home. The wow experience. The people that learn from you, or the people who watching in, who will be learning from you in the future, given, all right, this. If you said, Jamie, what is one of the key things that's missing from conversations, all right, that people have? It's when those wow moments happen and then we don't evoke more emotion and anchor those moments when they happen.
Yes.
Realtors, if you get realtors listening, and someone might go through a home and say they love a kitchen, and the realtor will be too quick to say, if you love this kitchen, wait till you see the master bathroom and bedroom. And I'm like, whoa, hey, they've said they love the kitchen. All right. For the loan officers listening in where it applies to you, you share a benefit, a feature of something you can do for them. And they go, wow, you can really do that. The second that the client says, wow, you can really do that, it's not a cue for you to say, yes, let me tell you more about it. It's a cue for you to ask, hey, I just noticed you said you seem like you appreciated that. What do you appreciate about that? And now your client is selling themselves and talking, and you're gathering more information. So that's one lesson. The second lesson is the words that we use, all right, what we hear someone say. A lot of my talk, I teach an audience as to that they're not listening to their clients and their clients aren't listening to them on the words that we hear. And even earlier, your face lit up when I said, let's use positive connotation. And instead of saying it's amateur or terrible, I'm just like, it's not the best. A key word that Ashley Bedford, for example, was like, Jamie, this has been a game changer for her, is the word feasible. If you've got clients and they say, I don't know if I can afford XYZ home, if the loan officer, if you're currently saying you want the home, you just don't want to be in financial hardship, or you don't want to be broke, now their brain is hearing financial hardship, broke, and you were the one who said it. If you say, hey, you want the home, you just make sure it's financially feasible. The second they say yes, I label certain words. Feasible is, I call it should become the loan officer's best friend word. Feasible.
I love that
The
word.
second you make it, you say the word feasible, it can get the buyer in their head, and you setting it up correctly for creativity. Let's get creative with how we structure this. As long, and this is good, as long as there's ethics, integrity, and they can afford it. You're doing things right by the client. I can show you, I'm in a coffee place. There are people spending $15 a day on coffee. You times that by 30 days. If your audience can catch on, your client have bills on depreciating assets or experiences in their life that you can connect the dots for them with regards to what difference a home is going to make.
Are you holding off on training your loan partners, your loan assistants, your team members, and support staff on how to wow your clients? Are they getting that kind of training from you? You probably plan on training them if you get a few extra hours, but when does that happen realistically? And meanwhile, your team is doing the best they can with the information that they have. But this kind of training really doesn't exist anywhere else. When you do the training, that means you're not as responsive as you want to be with your clients, and you're not hitting your closing and income goals as a loan officer. So how much is it costing you to not have a team that's properly trained how to wow clients and referral partners so that they only want to work with you because of the great experience that they're getting? We teach them how to use efficient step-by-step processes and systems that work, how to follow up so nothing falls through the cracks and loans close on time and even early, how to build wonderful relationships with clients, how to wow people so they go, man, that was an amazing experience. The members of his or her team are amazing. They're so on it. How to use scripts and dialogues for winning clients, setting expectations, and communicating with clients so that you can prevent problems down the road. How to handle difficult clients, how to make clients feel appreciated and valued, and how to handle and overcome objections. It might be time to ask for some help. That's why we're here. Loan Team Training has our next live WOW training coming up. We train your team for you so you can focus on closing loans. Check it out at loanteamtraining.com for our next class and see how many 5-star reviews we have from past WOW training participants and their loan officers who sent them at loanteamtrainingreviews.com. Remember, it's an interactive virtual training with live trainers, and we train any of your support staff that is communicating with clients and referral partners. Our sessions are 9 to 11:30 Pacific time. Check us out and sign your loan partner or team member up at loanteamtraining.com.
Okay, so it's probably good. I think this is a lesson for all of society, and go with me on this. A lot of the world overthinks things. I'm not here to say life is easy, and your life and anyone's life, loan officers, coaches, no life goes like this. I will say that our lives can be a lot more simple. And I think one of the things that people do is they overthink how they're meant to come across. And that's why I'm such an advocate for human experience. We know that with yourself yesterday, you sent a message, do you want to be on the podcast? And I was like, I do have it right. And you're like, autocorrect. Like I should have said, like, I'm looking forward to you being on the podcast. And I was like, that's completely okay. It's human. And Irene, I mean it. It's genuinely like, it's good. Scott Hudspeth actually had someone, once a loan officer sent out like 99 times on repeat the same email that went out, and suddenly got business from it. And it's human. And so for your audience, if they think, oh, I can only go networking if I've got business cards, I'm here to say you're overthinking.
Yes.
All right. If you're thinking, I can only get clients if I'm dressed a certain way, my preaching is you're overthinking.
Yeah.
If we, so there's components to life whereby if people just bring their human elements, everyone can be okay. And as a communication lesson for your audience, anytime you have a thought or a feeling, tweak it into a question of someone. And then what will happen is the person will engage with you more. If you start with, oh, I do this all the time, it's not the best scenario. If you ask someone, hey, have you ever had human moments with technology? That now the person in front of you, I have had those. Okay, well then, can you appreciate that in the middle of our interview, and the person who edits this is welcome to do this, in the middle of our interview, we had to change and adapt from Riverside to Zoom in order that, and because your audience be like, did he change? Where's he sat now? What's he looking at? You know, and again, I'm more an advocate for authenticity. And I think that in the world we're going to with AI and stuff, it's even more prevalent. And that's part of communication. So there you go. That's what came to my mind as a lesson.
Yes. Everything's a lesson, isn't it? Everything that we do every day, everything we learn, if we don't share it with other people, then they keep thinking the same thing they've always thought, just like we have been thinking the same thing we always thought, overthinking. For instance, in my past, I have been an overthinker. You noticed I said in my past
Yep.
until now. And I
What
don't
was
I don't want to
something
continue.
what was something that you think you were overthought? What thing would you overthink?
Well, what happened today where it didn't work, the Riverside wasn't working right, and Zoom, we ended up going to Zoom. That would have really been hard for me to deal with in the past because I'm a perfectionist. I like everything a certain way. And I don't, I don't like when things don't go the way they're supposed to, but I've learned to accept it. And I've learned that that is part of authenticity. We're real. We're not robots. We're not AI. We are real people and we're going to deal with real problems. And so what happened today where we had to switch from one tech solution to another, it's okay because now everything's clear and it's a lesson that we just move on. We keep going no matter what.
Well, if I ask every loan officer who listens into this, hey, has every transaction you've ever gone through with every client gone smoothly? If they say yes, I'll be like, uh, you know. So it's kind of like we do have to, in all walks of life, we have to learn, to adapt, pivot,
Yes.
in life. So, right, this is your rodeo, Irene. We're back. We're back on it. So, is there any questions that are?
I
Uh,
do. I
Go
do
ahead.
have a few. So, what is one thing that you do that's intentional every day to keep a strong mindset and know that things are not just possible, but they're doable?
Okay, so you know how you said in a past life you were an overthinker and today you're not around being a perfectionist. I'm going to share what I used to do. Let's say that a lot of the people on who are listening in are, craving a different approach. Some people do the say affirmations, and I don't believe in affirmations because they're in communication. An affirmation is a statement to oneself.
Hmm.
All right. So I don't have to do this so much now. All right. However, it's become part of it's a very easy, I believe in life, we shouldn't have to hard sell our stuff on things. All
Hmm.
right. So this is not a hard, like, do you want to do a podcast with Irene? Yes. It's not like, oh my God, I really need to sell myself on doing a podcast. And there's this nervousness or any energy like that today. But let's say Jamie starting out, here's something I had to train my brain on. And rather than affirmations, I would have to ask myself particular questions
Okay.
and get myself talk straight. If someone is actively listening to us, they're actively listening, they're in it. The second they stop listening, they're going to get in their cars or go about their day, and then they're going to start talking to themselves. And it's the thoughts that they have for themselves. And if they're negative thoughts, that's not going to help them.
Hmm.
So here's what I would do at the beginning of my journey, and it's literally trained. I'm now trained as a process of it more. Is if I'm having a negative thought, um, you know, is what I'm currently thinking, is it helping me or hurting me? It's hurting me. What should I be thinking? I should be asking myself, do I believe in myself? Yes. All right. And then I've got to answer the question, can I get other people to believe I can help them? And the answer is yes. And then I get the third question, can I get people to place a high value on what I bring them? And if I get a yes to that, that is what my business is built on. It's those three questions. Now, if your audience, be like, can you repeat that, Jamie? Or I don't want to watch that back. What did he say? Do I believe in myself? You have to ask yourself the question, do you believe in yourself? You might have to elaborate why. All right, for yourself. The second question is, can I get someone else to believe I can help them? If you answer that with yes, you might have to elaborate why. And then the third question, can I get them to place a high value on what I bring them? All right. And I guess in a nutshell, what came up for me, Irene, is those questions are so easily answerable. It might be part of my subconscious now in the mornings that I ask myself that before I go about my day.
Uh-huh.
And then I create what I call healthy challenges. My goals aren't monetary based. They used to be. I can be very upfront. When I started my journey, the amateur entrepreneur, as I would call it at the start, was saying sentences like, I will be happy if I earn, and I threw out an amount. Now it's like, okay, Jamie, can I value my time so much that I do activities with my time that are sustainable for me, where I'm enjoying myself? If I come across your audience like, I'm really working hard right now, I'm doing a really bad job, in life, like it's fun. And the second thing is people. How many people can I affect? And that's what I've, but again, simple lessons, but epiphanies,
I
to
love
go through
that.
in life.
Those are great questions to ask yourself because it really makes you think. I do affirmations just to help rewire old programming to new programming. But I love what you're saying about asking yourself the question, because when I teach about self-talk, that's one of my things that I love to talk about is self-talk. And when I'm training the either loan officers or their team members, it's stop yourself and say, is that what I really meant to be saying? Asking yourself, is that really what I meant to be saying? And if it's not, how can I say it differently? So those are the questions that I've been using.
Right, but those are questions, not
That's
statements.
right.
You following it like that? So and again, look, I think what makes the world amazing is I didn't invent any concept that I teach. I just teach the best that I've got at the moment that I've got it.
Uh-huh.
And for me, if we don't always have to be in complete agreement of absolutely everything in the world. That would make life very boring.
It would be.
All right. But I call it Stephanie syndrome. I have a beautiful girlfriend who's inside and out, and she teaches psychology. So I call her my peace in life. I always feel like the sense of I'm enough, which is it's a lovely feeling to have in a relationship. One of the things, though, that I've been proving over the years is anytime I share with her in a statement, honey, you are beautiful, all right, or anything like that, here's what I've learned. If she's not feeling that way in that moment, I'm making a statement, but she doesn't feel that way. So she'll come up with, Jamie, I think you need to start wearing glasses, right? But I'm saying something I genuinely believe, and I feel that way. So that's why I double down on this notion that affirmations, you can rewire the brain and it can take a long time. If we're making statements on and we don't truly believe it, that's why I think the questions that you ask are more important that we answer. Like if someone's making affirmation, I am this, and then they're following up with, why am I that? Now I'm like, okay, I can buy into that. But if you're just screaming affirmations every morning, look at your body like you're like, yeah, no. But some people in the world are literal. I know that the way I would have been taught years ago, affirmations, it's a bunch of statements, and I'm screaming myself in the mirror, I am this, I am that. And again, it's how we, absorb, what we're being taught out there. But I love those questions you came up with. How, just for your audience as well, you can start with a how question.
Give us an
All right?
example.
Okay. So if it reminds me, I'm in a coffee place, but I tried to make coffee places my office because it seemed better than it just seemed like out and about. And especially after the pandemic, it was kind of like, okay, where can I get to around people? I had a client once and he was selling the payment systems, like, Toast that you get in. I don't know if you're aware, like they get like payment processing in different businesses.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, I was sat with him at a coffee place. He goes, oh, I'd love to have this coffee place as a client. I'm like, have you ever approached them? He goes, no. I said, come with me because you could probably believe I'm an extrovert. So I went up to the guy, Michael, behind the counter. I'm like, Michael, I'm betting that every day you get people in here with a portfolio and a polo shirt wearing their business emblazoned on the business. And and that's what Kurt was the poster child for that day, my client. And and Michael behind the counter goes, oh, Jamie, all the time. I said, well, let's say the only words you can't say right now is email me, because we both know that's a cold, that's like colder correspondence. All right. And let's say you can't say email me, and let's say someone indeed did have value to provide you with something, all right, that you would be willing to meet up with them, all right, within the next week. How would that approach go so that you would actually entertain doing that? Notice I'm using the word how.
Yes.
What you're basically doing, if your audience can pick up, is you're asking your client, potential client, how do you want to be presented with my services so that you would actually entertain taking advantage of those services?
Yes.
And now you let the client basically tell you, this is how I want you to sell me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How would, it's okay to ask that. How would you, what's amazing? People, there are going to be mothers and dads are not as good at sales as women. And I share that a lot from stages, and I believe it. Mothers will be like, how would you want to, they would use a how question with their kids at home more so than a dad would ever think of using. Dads were like, go and do go and have a bath, or how would it feel to be cleaner and smelling nice, or whatever it might be? And that would be a how question that a mother would think
To ask.
to ask. Or mothers use multiple choice questions really well, giving you can have a bath at this time, or you can eat broccoli or asparagus. Which one do you want? And it's kind of like giving a choice. All right. It's just a more sophisticated psychology and understanding of the communication. It's just, if the parents who are listening and being like, I do that with my kids, my question would be, are you doing that with your clients? The same principles that work across the board.
Yes, it sure is. So you're doing an event, and I want to talk about your event a little bit. I'm
Okay.
so excited to go to this event. It's something very different than a lot of events that are happening out in the world today, and it's called HumanCon, and it's on September 18th in Orlando, and it's reclaiming the art of connection. I love talking about connection, human consciousness, connection, communication. All of those are so interrelated. If we don't have connection, in my mind, if we don't have connection, we don't have anything. I love connecting with people, especially like-minded people, but even people that are maybe not like-minded, maybe have a different opinion about things than I do, and we can have a good discussion about it. But the art of connection is so important. Tell us what you're going to be covering there in that event.
Okay. Obviously, I can be, first off, truly grateful for you to bring up the event. And I've been in events now for 30 years. So I am, the fact that you said it a little bit different, it is going to be more of what I'm structuring as a hybrid event, where I'm going to be personally teaching for 5 hours within the day. All right. So it's not speaker back to back to back to back speaker. And the idea is, one is to teach in a palatable way over the course of a whole day things that if people have watched this, all right, my hope would be that they can internalize at least one lesson. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I can use the word feasible going forward, or I can do something like that, or I can ask a multiple choice question. If someone goes, what are the rates? I can actually implement something tactically for myself. So it's, as a hybrid event, I'm looking to teach over the course of a whole day, and it's predominantly loan officers and realtors. So it's all focused and centered around communication connection for loan officers, for realtors to actually go out there and have more connection with their prospective clients. And it's something that I never thought I would ever do. Irene, I used to like the fun uncle approach. You know, I show up at Fuse, I show up at Morgan, I'll be there the whole entire day. And I'm prepared to move a chair. I don't, you know, the temperature of the room can be whatever it is. I just never thought I would ever go through putting on my own event. Yeah, I do believe in healthy challenge. All right.
It's
And
definitely a healthy challenge.
yeah, well, you're thankfully, you look, in my head, when I've got the caliber of individuals such as yourself, where you've already got a ticket and you're coming along, in my mind, I'm like, anyone who hears, listens to you, or all the people who are getting their seats, I'm always like, I've made it such a feasible investment, all right, for pretty much anybody of any walk of life. They don't need to be the top producers, all right, in the world. And that's where I'm looking to aim to make the biggest difference. It's the people out there where they're craving a level of success that they deem success, and then give them the skill sets to be able to go out there and do it. And it's going to be in Orlando, so it makes my life a little bit easier that I live in Orlando.
Yes.
I've booked out this theater room that does look outstanding, and it's definitely going to have a vibe and an energy. Specifically, if I can get 2,600 people into the room, and that's a got. Where do you live,
I
Irene?
live in Arizona.
All right. So here for context, I've got you flying from Arizona in September, and I've got people flying from Snoqualmie, Washington, or people coming from San Francisco, or in my mind, it's like, and I know thousands of people in the real estate industry in Orlando that I feel like if I've got people flying from somewhere, you know, if you're listening in now, if you do live in an Arizona or different parts of the country, you're hearing Irene, she's got her ticket. And obviously, if you like being around Irene, then would you love being around her in person for 5 hours as well, like throughout a whole day?
Yeah.
That is basically what I'm trying to create, and it's one day of learning. And as even I'm speaking, being conscious about it, it's one of those things I'm so passionate about that I don't know if I can express in clarity right now. Whatever would be a great reflection on you, Irene. You know, it's Ashley Bedford and some others, and Scotty, have said the early bird gets the worm, kind of like
Yes.
all right. So for anyone who actually does watch this, listens in, and is actually watching this, and you do want to get better, I'm going to use the word promise. I label the promise. That's the most dangerous word in the English dictionary. So you've got feasible is your best friend. Promise is dangerous. All right. Why? Because you have to live up to it. I can promise anybody who watches this, who reaches out before May, most likely because of UWM Live, all right, I will be the most amazing reflection on Irene. All right. Meaning that if you just go and see a website and stuff, you won't love me as much as if you've watched this and you see Irene and you reach out to me. I will make a promise to you that you'll love me a little bit more. All right, from that standpoint. And that's a kind of cheesy, cheeky way of hopefully getting some interest, because I'll teach this as a lesson. No one wants to feel sold anything in life, Irene. All right. So what I use are 4 words: if you were me. If your audience starts using the words if you were me to their potential clients, the client will feel less sold by them, because what you're doing in psychology is if you can get the client to feel like, if I was in your shoes, I would be doing the same exact thing as you right now.
Yes.
It's that agreement piece. They won't feel sold. So if I said to your audience, if you were me and you were putting on an event, all right, and you were looking to fill a room, would you be looking to fill the room sooner rather than later? Now your audience is like, yes, I would be. If I was in your shoes, Jamie, I would want to, get the room booked sooner rather than later. It makes whatever questions I ask about the event more palatable. So if you have a loan officer and they're in front of someone who they currently, let's say, example, they're renting, or no, actually, you know what? They want a realtor referral partner. All right. They go up to the realtor. Look, if you were me, would you want to work with the very best of the best realtors on the planet? The realtor's going to be like, yes, I would. If I was you, want to do that. Are you following along? So hopefully
Yes,
it's not the realtor will not care if you say the words, I want to work.
that's right.
The tweak is, if you were me, would you be wanting it? And the second that the realtor says yes to that, it makes asking for the business more palatable to them.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great takeaway.
Oh,
If you were me,
well, the world gets taught too much. Look, I've seen it. Like, we cannot put ourselves in the client's shoes. Irene, I identify as a man born and raised in England. You might identify as a woman born and raised in America.
yeah.
I cannot put myself in your shoes with your experience in life. What I can do in my communication is put you in my shoes in perspective in what I'm doing in business in life. And that's what the words "if you were me" does for us. And so we've got to stop trying to put ourselves in other people's shoes, because most of the time we're going to get it royally wrong, and to the point of we could be insulting them.
hmm I've never been a person for hard sales or any kind of sale. Like sales to me, I just don't even like the word. But you're helping people. That's what I look at sales as, is if they buy the product or they buy into what I am selling, so to speak, what no matter what it is, they're going to get helped. They're going to have a great experience. So if you were me, Jamie, and I
Yeah,
wanted to let people know about, no, I'm getting your advice here. So I let loan officers know that we have this WOW training class and I help
right.
them hire people as well. How would I say that in a way that would be the best way possible for them to understand what I'm asking them?
So I'm going to give you the best that I've got. Like I said, in the moment, the best that I have in my between my two ears in terms of that advice. Here's what comes up to me. All right. If you say, I want to help people in this arena, they're like, I'm not so caring.
Uh-huh.
So here's the thing. It's the call to action question. And if instead of making it, I want, you start with, let's say this is an area in life where I have been told by my clients that I help them dramatically with regards to this. All right. And then the question has to involve the words "at least" as a call to action. Would that at least be worth entertaining half an hour? All right. To learn how that can be done for you too. And then the idea is the person in front of you is going to more say yes. If you end the phone, for your loan officers who are listening in, they're trying to get a realtor to refer them business. Let's say that, and you're not saying you're saying my clients have shared. Let's say my clients have shared that I am da 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 as a loan officer. Would that at least merit or be worth half an hour? If the realtor says yes, you now have sold them on the most important commodity, which is their time. And there's a big difference. If you ask someone, do you have time? Everyone in the world is going to say no to you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you say, let's say this is something I can do for you, would you at least see a benefit in
I love
learning it?
that.
All right. So what will happen for your WOW training? You've evidently you've got clients in there. So your tonality, people remember the way you've been feeling. A big part of confidence. Look, my tonality. I've been invited to speak on May 14th at UWM Live in front of 6,000 loan officers on their 40th anniversary. All right. If your audience is listening into that, they're going to see, yeah, that guy, if he took a lie detector test, he's passing on that. Why? Because it's factually happening. Are you following along with me? Like, you can't. So if you anchor in your mind, or your audience anchors in their mind, you anchor in your head someone you're helping in your WOW thing who's loved what you've taught them, when you go and say to another person who's not in your training right now, hey, let's say I've got clients all day long telling me how much they love me because I taught them this. All right, would you at least see a benefit in learning a little bit more about that in life? They're going to be like, yes, Irene. And that is how I would. And it's the same. I would like, hey, let's say you've listened in on podcasts from hopefully what you see is two lovely people. And can we understand? I can't teach everything in an hour or whatever Irene edits. Would that at least be worth reaching out to me to find out, Jamie, how do we find out more? All right.
Yes.
And that's, I'm not telling the audience, I want you to reach out. It's asking them, all right, are we in agreement on this? And would it at least be worth that? And that is how my Facebook, where it'll get 0 likes or comments, no one ever gets to see the private message of the person it did resonate with, Irene.
Yeah.
All right. And every single post you ever see me do, funny enough, irony, you'll see the words at least in there.
Yeah.
All right. So that's
Game
how
changer to talk that way, to say things that way. It's a game changer.
if someone can actually internalize it for themselves, they really will sit. Because here's the deal: if people in their emails, an email should not be long. It should just be having a call to action. Let's say I'm this. Would you at least see a benefit in a phone call? Yes.
Yeah.
If I'm on the phone with someone, hey, like I'm a Florida realtor. Everyone's moving from New York down here. And I know that if I keep them on the phone, I got less chance of getting business. If I can get them on virtual, I can set up a game plan before they come down here. So when I'm on the phone, I'll be like, hey, look, moving down the street can sometimes be a mission, right? And the person will be like, yeah. I'm like, can we understand moving to a whole different state, bigger mission? Can you at least see where 45 minutes is a virtual meeting to set a great game plan up for yourself so that we are valuing all the time the one commodity we're not going to get back when you're down here? Can you at least see where 45 minutes on a Zoom would be good?
Yes.
Right. I'm not saying I want to meet with you so that we have a game plan. It's, hey, can I get them to understand moving down the street can be a big mission? Yes. Okay. So moving to a whole different state, bigger mission. I know what I'm consciously asking them to set it up to be like, we should get on a Zoom and make it their idea, that it's a sensible idea. You can also add humor in consciously. I'll be like, hey, I've got a super important question for you. Most important question. On Tuesday next week, by chance, will you be decent from the neck up? All right. And then, right, because I know that if they're listening and paying attention, they're like, decent from the neck up. Like, hey, yeah, you want me on a Zoom? All right. It's not saying I want to be robotic and get on a Zoom. It's just knowing what the reactions are as well from the right people, so you never bring on headache clients, for yourself too. So
I love that. So there's been at least 3 or 4 takeaways just during this podcast that if people will go back and listen to the podcast again or look at the transcript, they will be able to see 3 or 4 big takeaways that will transform your business in a different way if you even just did one of them. And it's amazing. I'll put it in the show notes what those 4 are, but it's so important that people re-listen to the podcast and see how they can use that in their lives. And that's why we do this, is to give important information that loan officers can use in their business. And so thank you, Jamie, for being here today. It was so, you gave us at least 4 huge nuggets, at least, and if not more, huge nuggets. And I hope that people will go to MortgageCon. I mean, not MortgageCon, I'm sorry, HumanCon. We're gonna cut that part out.
No, don't take that. You know what? That's a human moment. And here's the deal. I love MortgageCon.
Me too.
All right. Like, so look, I'm an abundance guy. It's HumanCon, there's MortgageCon. Like, I genuinely believe that we can all learn in tons of different environments there with that. So thank you. It's being maybe your audience could like this, and there's a lesson and gratitude. The universe conspires to give us what we want when we go for you and I were strangers. We didn't know each other.
Right.
I believe that it's a testament to the frequency. My frequency I'm playing on in the universe attracts a Scott Hudspeth that then attracts an Irene Duford. So I am honored, grateful. I get to get in my truck after this and have a big smile on my face that this is what life is like, and your audience gets to see it. For those of you who did watch it and they do pick up those 3 or 4 things, it's have we helped people? And if the answer is yes for them, that's what life it's too many people focus on scarcity, Irene, and there if you operate from a place of abundance, true abundance,
Yes.
the universe will give you everything that you want. So thank you for inviting me, and I love this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. And I appreciate everything that you teach, that you train us on and teach us. And HumanCon is the event to go to for sure. I'm just sure of that. I'm excited because there's not too many events that are about communication specifically.
I'll go one step further. I can't believe I didn't even mention earlier. There's zero talk of AI at HumanCon. The whole point is human.
Human.
Right, like every event you go to, even if it does talk about communication right now, it's talking about you becoming a robot or how
Yes.
to best use a robot, and what
Mhm.
prompts to send. Luke Shankala, you might know that name, lovely,
Yes.
lovely man. He asked the room at MortgageCon, he goes, how many are using ChatGPT? And every hand went up. I'm like, how many of you are getting leads and actual interactions leads with ChatGPT? And every hand went down. The point being is, it is super impressive AI as technology goes. It's not where it needs to be for people just to be like, I'm going to sit back and just let this robot do the stuff. So that's the added point with HumanCon, is teaching people how to be the ultimate humans,
Yeah.
and having a full understanding of the psychology of, am I using the right words? Am I asking the right questions? Or as you said earlier, am I turning people off?
Mhm.
And it's very easy to turn someone off.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jamie,
No,
for being here. I appreciate
thank you.
you and everything that you teach us. And I'm grateful that you took your time today to be with us.
Oh, I'm grateful for your patience as well when we had to change platforms, and the person that edits this, I'm sure will do a stellar job. Thank you. All right,
Thank
cheers.
you. Thank you for being here today while Jamie Miller talked about the art of conscious communication. He is amazing. And I'm sure you had at least 1 to 4 takeaways from today. I would love it if you would put in the comments what your takeaways were. That would be amazing. And I would sure appreciate it if you got value from this. If you would do a review, that would be amazing as well. So thank you for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day.